What's up, humans, and welcome to a new Psicoactivo. Happy Friday, everybody. Okay, so we got a new interview of Representative Tim Burchett with Tucker Carlson, and they spoke about UFOs for about an hour or so. Not really anything new per se. He has a story to tell about a USO, which is very interesting that I am going to play to you guys. But for me, and as a media analyst, I thought this was really significant. One of the most interesting exchanges was when Representative Burchett talked about the disinformation campaigns that go on and that are ongoing in politics in general. But he talks about tactics that apparently were used in the past, and he doesn't think that they're used anymore. But if they use those types of tactics back then, you can only imagine what they do now with technology. And also a little bit discouraging kind of discourse from Tim, because just like last night's video that I did with you guys about Michael's concerns for disclosure being dead, Tim Burchett is one of the representatives who is part of the UAP caucus. He's been championing the cause for a few years now. He was one of the reasons why the hearings happened with David Grush in the first place. He's regarded as one of the most to the point kind of people. Hearing him talk about how disappointed he is at the government disclosure effort is pretty eye-opening. And I think you guys got to listen to this, because maybe that's one of the reasons why he backed out a little bit. But also something that I found really interesting is that he's the one who's been talking about crypto terrestrials and USOs and underwater bases and all that stuff. And I just wonder if he already was shown either documentation or some type of evidence, because he's leaning into it really hard. So I just wonder about that quite a bit. But let's watch him here on this exchange first, talking about the disinformation and misinformation campaigns. And then we'll go to the USO story, if that's okay with you guys.
So how many military personnel have you spoken to about their personal experiences with these things?
I'd say, well, I don't know, 8 or 9, 10 maybe. But I have to be real careful, because I'm clearly somebody out there, and I'm not backing down on it. I'm not ashamed of it or anything, but
You have no reason to be ashamed of it.
No.
Why would you be ashamed of it?
Well, that's what they try to do, is they try to shame people.
Oh, are you hiding relevant secrets from the American public? I don't think you are.
No, but
why aren't they ashamed?
Well, I have to be careful about the white flags, the stuff people bring me that's not real.
Well, that's why we're talking to you.
Yeah. Well,
I've had a lot of people come to me with stuff like that.
Yeah. And I got these pictures, and I want to show you this. I've got
This happens a lot. Still remains to be seen who gave Lou Elizondo that picture of the irrigation circles. But that seems to be one of the instances where this happened. Whether Lou was involved in it, I don't know. That's something that is argued by a bunch of people. I can't speak on it because I really don't know. But Tucker must have a huge team of people that are helping him identify this. And this becomes way more difficult as you get more involved in it. I can only imagine how bombarded by information Tim Burchett gets, with a lot of people trying to reach him, a lot of people with different agendas in his ear or trying to tell him stuff. It gets difficult. And Tucker also speaks on it. Disinformation and misinformation campaigns are currently at an all-time high, not just about UFOs, about everything, because of the internet. So it's getting increasingly difficult to identify this.
I'm always afraid I'm going to end up in a refrigerator up in North Carolina, or a freezer in North Carolina somewhere, because I'm not going up there and checking out some guy's finds he's got, But
do you think so? I think what you're saying is the disinformation campaign run by whomever, maybe
it's real.
Well, it's definitely real. And I assume it's run by the U.S. government or its satellites and the defense contractors. But part of the way that they discredit people who are interested in finding out what this is by telling them false things. And then
they tried to destroy their careers. They did that to one of our guys. One of the very first person, the first hearing we had, if you remember, some weekly newspaper reporter found out that one of the guys suffered from PTSD because of his military career. You know what? In Tennessee, we embrace that. My daddy fought on Pelo in Okinawa, and to the day he died, I never woke him up over the top of him. I always woke him up by his big toe, because he might have woke up on one of those dadgum islands and pinned me up against the wall. And we celebrate our heroes. But Washington, D.C. just destroys them. And to think that a weekly newspaper found out this guy's medical history, which is a total violation of the law, somebody should go to jail for it, but nobody did. They tried to destroy this guy. And that's what happens to people in Washington, D.C. That's what happens to our military heroes when they step out of line because of the sewer or deep state or whatever you want to call it. But that's what they are. And that's why we need real whistleblower protection for them.
Well, I agree with that completely, which we don't have.
No.
And by the way, I know 2 whistleblowers who are living outside the country because they can't come to the United States.
Sure. And I'll have people actually.
That's interesting. I didn't know about that. Thank you, Tucker.
I've had people call me. One last thing. I'm in the Longworth building. It's no secret. It's public record. But I've had people that'll call me or send a message to me and want to come by, and they won't come in that building and ask me if I can come outside. I've had people call me and want to come to the house in East Tennessee, and because they don't want to come to Washington, D.C. and talk to me. There's a well-publicized television show that was on for a while that I didn't know they were coming. I mean, they said some people wanted to talk to me, and it was a trusted friend. And I said, sure, send them, bring them up, come on up to D.C. And I said, well, they don't want to come to D.C. And they drove from wherever to my house in East Tennessee on a Saturday afternoon. And then they put some stuff on a screen that was pretty compelling.
What was it?
It was aircraft flying at just crazy stuff that we can't do, that would turn you or me into basically a ketchup package. It was not.
No human being could handle the G-force.
No, not at our. Well, with the technology we have, the G-force would just tore them apart. And was it unmanned or whatever? I don't know. But these guys, and one of them was they were scientists. Several of them were scientists, and
they came to see you.
They came to see me. Yeah, and because it's kind of.
Wait, so what do you do with that information?
I try to grasp it within my very small brain. And what am I supposed to do with that? I ask God all the time, what do you want me to do with this stuff, Lord? And right now I'm just got to get enough disclosure. I've come to the realization that nothing is ever going to happen, Tucker, until we have somebody in the White House that says enough is enough and just discloses it. And I hope President Trump, I have discussions with him privately and other times that I'm not, I've talked to his people, but at some point there's several of us, Luna and myself and several others, that are concerned about this issue, and we want some answers.
I didn't know those details about the scientists who went to visit him at his home and showed him this video of some type of aircraft that he couldn't understand. That's very interesting. I wonder who it was. I wonder if it was Dr. Gary Nolan, Dr. Kit Green, Dr. James Lakatsky, Dr. Eric Davis, Dr. Kevin Knuth could be a sensible option, I think. But yeah, the options could be many. So that's what he saw. One of the things, at least. I've thought for a while that Burchett saw something already that has him convinced that these things are real. And now he is talking about it with Tucker. Yeah, I heard other different types of things that he probably was shown, maybe something in person, but I haven't been able to confirm that. So I'll just keep that as a rumor and not talk about it because I haven't been able to confirm it. If I do, I will talk about it because I'm still digging. But for now, I think this is really interesting. And I think that it's a good thing that Representative Burchett is speaking publicly again, because he did seem like he was taking a break. So let me show you the other one about the encounter, because I think this one is really interesting as well, given that Burchett has been talking about USOs for a while and underwater bases and all that stuff. Here is Representative Burchett talking about this, just a little short clip right here.
Ask questions, right?
Yeah, and I've had military personnel call me and tell me that they've chased these things. They've been in the water. I had one guy tell me a story. He was an officer, and he was in the water fishing off. I think it was on the East Coast, and this huge craft flew over them, and then these several jets were flying, trying to keep up with it. And he identified the jets because he was obviously an Air Force officer, and he said, "Look, I just want you to continue on this thing. You're not. A lot of people have seen stuff," and he said, "I have," and and I mean, he had a distinguished.
Interesting too, right? I wouldn't be surprised if Representative Burchett does a little more interviews after this one, because he seems eager to talk, and I hope he does, because it's refreshing when he talks about UFOs, and because he's clearly been very invested in it, as Burleson, as Luna, and others. I'm glad that he's doing this. Let me know what you think about Representative Burchett's explanation of the disinformation campaigns and what they do to discredit people. And what do you think about this visit he had from scientists who showed him footage of craft that he couldn't understand, and he was puzzled by them? Let me know in the comments. If you like the content you see, I'm going to ask you to like, share, comment, subscribe, hype, and hit the bell icon. That's all you need to do in order to help us, and it is what helps us the most, so thank you. But if you want to support us in other ways, there's a few links down there you can choose from. You can become a member on YouTube, or you can support us through KGRA. Anything you choose to do is always appreciated, so thank you. That's it for me today on this video, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Remember, stay curious and inquisitive like Representative Tim Burchett. Always. Bye.